Jairus, we're in a place where tourists have to come every single time, and usually what we do is we take a boat from Tiberias and we dock here at what's called Nafkin Osar. But the important part about this is behind us, this is actually a 2,000-year-old boat. Tell us about this a little bit.
Absolutely. What can you ask for more? Ginosar, a name from the New Testament, a nickname for the lake. And suddenly, mid-80s, there are a couple of kibbutzniks, people that walk over here. They go on the beach had recited, and they see iron-made nails. Now, they wore archaeological puff. They liked history and archaeology. They were not professionals, but they knew that they have something over here.
Okay.
So in late 1985, they call an archaeologist, they come in, it takes them a couple of minutes, and boom, you see two crazy archaeologists dancing on the mud.
Yeah.
They found a 2,000-year-old boat. Carbon dated it, proved it. The timber that was found was the local timber at that time, and we find it all over. So what you see actually is a typical Jesus time boat.
Right.
This is the exact boat that Peter would be on, and that they would come the storm with, and when they would throw and cast the nets. This is exactly what they do.
Well, that's amazing. Now, really, this is just as important for the Jewish heritage as it is the Christian heritage as well, isn't it?
Absolutely. Not only that it is important to both heritage, and I would say even vital. There is no differentiation between the culture that gave birth to Jesus' ministry, the time, and what you see here today. You cannot tell the difference, because if you dig 2,000 years ago, it is Jesus' times, but it is also the end of the Second Temple period. So every relic that we find is most important for both, if you want, stories, for both narratives. When you want to hear and listen and understand Jesus' allegories, the stories, you have to see the vegetation.
Right.
You have to see the proximity between the sites, and you have to see how the boats look like, what is the smell of the sea, what is the St. Peter fish that grows over here. You have to experience that.
Well, that's pretty amazing. Now, obviously the boat would have had sails and a mast to be able to go out on the water, but when the storms came up, it would have been very dangerous to be out in a boat this small out on the lake.
Well, yes and no. Yes, it is that kind of boat. No, because the very beginning of the test of the occasion over there is, why do they have a storm to begin with?
Yeah.
This is not a very wide boat. It is not a very wide boat. Wide boats would be in a very wavy areas. No, this is almost a big canoe.
Right.
It is narrow.
Right.
There were no big waves over here. This is in the middle of the valley. The very beginning is, why do they have the storm, which causes the time for Jesus to walk on water, to put down and quiet down the storm. This is the narrative.
So the disciples, who would have been fishermen, would have probably been using boats similar to this to fish. So when they had no fish caught, when Christ told the disciples to move the nets from one side to the other, that really wasn't much of a move from the left to the right.
Exactly the point that Jesus is making. There should be fish all over.
Right.
But with a little luck on one side, or in other words, with the grace of the Lord, one can choose. And the miracle, again, is not that they had a fish on the other side. The miracle is that they didn't have a fish on the side that they cast the nets toward. You know, when I come over here, and I grew up over here, when I come over here and I see this boat, sometimes I am lucky enough to be here by myself. I can hear the waves. I can imagine Andrew, and I can imagine Simon Peter, and I can imagine them standing over there, standing close to the edge of the boat, casting the nets, hearing the seagulls, looking at the quiet waves, and then suddenly lifting the cast nets. With the jumping tilapias over there until they lift it all up. I can smell that, I can see that.
Oh man, that's exciting.
Absolutely.
Now, that is really cool. Well, thank you for allowing us to be able to see this today. It's been great.
Absolutely.
Terrific.